What's up? I think we are live here. We have a awesome show planned tonight. We're going to be talking about some testosterone related stuff. Did you know that testosterone can actually help predict whether you have a job or not, or if you're unemployed? So we're going to get into that study. That was super interesting. We also have some guests on tonight, Johnny Eugen and Seth Jordan. What's up, fellas? How is everybody doing today? And we got the OGs here, TYL and David DiMasquita. How is everybody doing?
What's up, guys? How you doing? Everything's going good. Too much testing here now.
Really, there's way too much testing here at this point. So, does everyone want to go through real quick and just say what's up? TYL, you want to start there and just give people hello?
What's going on, guys? I want to shout out the one person right now on my channel that's watching. I don't know who you are, but you're freaking awesome.
Yes. David, you want to say what's up?
What's up, everyone? I can't stream it on my YouTube right now, apparently. So
I tried to do that, and I guess it's after I pressed the go live button, and I guess it didn't do that. I didn't want to go live because I wasn't sure if you were going to go on when I scheduled it.
It has to do with the fact that you're on Twitter, and we only have 3 destinations available. So,
okay.
So yeah, I mean,
can I hold on a second?
Anyway, while we're doing that, what's going on, Seth? How are you doing, bud?
Yeah.
What's up, guys? Just want to say thanks for bringing me on again. It's been a good while since I've been on the Test Your Levels podcast. So I'm glad to catch up and hope everyone's having a good day today. Let's get this going.
Yes. And Johnny, you want to say what's good, brother?
Yo, what's up, guys? It's your No BS trainer, Johnny U, with my fellow Too Much Test guys over here. I'm really excited to go on. We all have the same hobbies. We're on to high testosterone activities. So thanks for having me on, guys.
Yes. What's up, Joseph Bonino? How you doing? So I wanted to get into this study that I found. Well, actually, it was posted by, what's his name? Dr. I forget what his name is, but he's a doctor on Instagram, and he posted this article here. Higher testosterone levels reduce men's risk of becoming or staying unemployed. And I found this super interesting, and I'd love to hear what you guys think on this. I also put up the actual study so we can just read through the abstract. It's just a paragraph long. Can you guys see this?
Yeah.
Okay, so in and out of employment, labor market transitions, and the role of testosterone. Biological processes have provided new insights into the diverging labor market trajectories. The paper uses population variance and testosterone levels to explain transition probabilities into and out of employment. We examine the labor market transitions from 2004 initially employed and 111 initial unemployment British men from the UK household longitudinal study. Between 2011 and 2013, we addressed the endogeneity of testosterone levels by using genetic variation as instrumental variables. We find that for both initial unemployment levels, initial unemployed men as well as initial employed men, higher testosterone levels reduce the risk of unemployment. This is fascinating. What do you guys think about this?
do you want me to jump in on this really fast?
Go ahead. Yes.
So I'm telling you that this is a correlation study. So the ones that are more depressed, higher stress, are going to have lower testosterone levels. It's like a direct correlation between what's going to hit your hypothalamus pituitary axis way that's going to downregulate your testosterone production. So they're picking up on people that are unhappy in their workplace. They're getting stressed on daily stresses, and then their testosterone levels tank down. And then sure enough, they're getting the read right there, the data. That's super interesting, actually. I guess I never really thought about it that way because, I am on TRT. So,
Johnny, what are your thoughts on this study?
Yeah, I agree. Definitely. I think it's a correlation. And obviously, when you're more stressed out and, you don't have a job, your testosterone is going to be lower. But from my experience, guys, having good testosterone levels is good for drive. That's one of the reasons why I would do TRT or testosterone, not just the muscle building benefits, but also the drive in everyday life. And I would say that as soon as I started getting on TRT, maybe when I was about 25, 26, I always had kind of low test levels. I noticed an increase in drive. I've always had drive. I've always been a go-getter, but it helps. I believe that the higher testosterone helps.
I would go in the same direction you were saying, Johnny. Yes, like the stresses of like the labor market, completely agree with what David was saying, but I mean, all of us here were on TRT or something, right? TRT or TRT plus, right? And that gives you that extra drive, right? You just feel better. You feel more willing to take on the things in life that you know you should be taking on that are going to get you the results that you need to like achieve what you want, right? Like we all probably agree with that, but it's interesting to see it played out in the data, right? Like to actually, we understand this because it's something that we do every day. And then there's a study comes out because studies don't really like show us how we see things, right? They'll be like, hey, this weird obscure thing that we're trying to test that we got money for is true or is not true or disproved, right? But they're not like showing stuff that's like how we might interpret them. Like, yeah, no shit, testosterone helps you like improve your situation.
I read, I don't know, that one looked like just a clip of the study. I actually, the link that I had a little bit more, and it was a pretty large study. It was like 20 to 40,000 people they did that study on over like 10 plus years. So, I mean, that's just crazy. I mean, for us, it makes fucking sense. Like, listen, you get your libido up, you get your confidence up, your test levels are through the roof, and you're like, yo, I need to go fuck shit up. You know, you walk into that job interview and you're like, yo, I'm the motherfucker for this job. This is my job. You know what I'm saying? But, there is definitely a correlation to where, you know, if you're in the workforce and you have high testosterone levels, there's a good chance you're not going to become unemployed because you're driven, because you have the motivation. True. But if you're sitting on the couch and you just get a job and you're kind of half-assing it, then yeah, you're probably going to get canned. Sorry, bud. I got Stam over here on TRT Plus. He's kicking ass and you're over here slacking.
What other takeaways were there? I didn't read through the full study. I just pulled up the article and then clicked over to the abstract.
High test is better. That's
it's super interesting that you're saying basically like the correspondence within the workplace and interactions and stuff like that. I guarantee you that there'd also be a correlation, maybe not 100%, but like executive level kind of plus people that they had higher testosterone levels. It's super interesting. At one of my workplaces, every single one of them was bald, which is an indicator of higher test, which is obviously DHT related and hair loss, and they probably just shave their heads eventually. But in a meeting room, the pheromones allow you to drive a meeting. I guarantee it that is part of a study that they could have done during that process. But it's very difficult to do that one. So just a correlation I've seen.
It is interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if over the next decade we have a tremendous like increase in the amount of people that are actually on testosterone and just optimizing their hormones. I'm reading this book. I don't remember what it's called, but it's by this doctor and it's all about hormones. And I didn't have an appreciation for adrenal fatigue. Like I just thought it was more of like a thing that people thought was real, but I didn't actually appreciate that it is a real thing out there, as well as how many issues come up with thyroid. Like I didn't like realize that there's also a laundry list of, and if your thyroid's fucked up and if you're natty, it can also fuck up your testosterone levels. And it was like, damn, I'm glad that I got this book.
Well, so the pituitary acts when someone gets stressed, it hits all hormones. It's not just one, because the pituitary signals to create sex hormones and also to produce TSH. But you can also downregulate basically the T3 uptake process, which directly affects metabolism. So there's a lot of stuff that happens within the realm of the pituitary axis ways that can get thrown off by just stress. So adrenal fatigue can tax that. But the adrenals are located in the kidneys. So it depends on what's going on. It could be usually like adrenals, like vitamin C are good for adrenals. And there's a lot of other things like adrenal glandulars, even like reishi mushroom, cordyceps, stuff like that. It's all really good for regulating that process. But the brain, if you interrupt that signaling, it basically just kicks the hormones. And in females, you see more so than men, where it will zero out their hormones. Like I'm talking like zero tests, zero estrogen, zero progesterone. I've seen it on paper.
From thyroid?
thyroid would just be downregulated. They'll be in hypo ranges, and that's one reason why you have teenage girls that are being diagnosed with hypothyroidism, and they're being put on artificial thyroid hormone when they don't need it. It's just they need to address their stress levels. And they're hormonal, maybe being bullied in school. There's a lot that goes on, and they get thrown on thyroid medication in this bucket, and it's really their brain and their stress levels that are bottoming out their TSH levels sometimes because they can't produce enough thyroid hormone.
Johnny, and then I also wanted to get into Seth's experience with, he's actually testing out a different Sarm that I've actually never tested. But Johnny, you work with a bunch of female clients as well. Are they getting, a lot of them like willing to get their blood work done and stuff like that? How are you seeing issues with like their thyroids as well?
Oh yeah, most women, especially in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, as they get older, the menopause state, I noticed that a lot of them get on thyroid medication. The doctor will literally just put them on without addressing the nutrition and whatever else, the stress levels. But I think nutrition is huge with the thyroid as well. Like I know Stan Efferdine was big on iodine, getting enough iodized salt, getting enough cranberry juice, stuff like that. I think it helps, nutrition, stress levels. But yeah, a lot of women are having thyroid issues. And a lot of girls that I date end up having thyroid issues when I look at their blood work as well. So younger girls are getting it as well.
Sorry to interrupt on this one. I know, David, you're big on diet, like especially with testosterone levels. That could really be a big play in like men's health or female if they're on HRT. If they're eating the right foods, you could actually take your test levels. You could actually raise them naturally without testosterone treatment, which a lot of these doctors these days don't want to give you prescribed testosterone and will do it other routes. But I know that's probably a big play too, most definitely in some cases. I don't know. What do you say?
Yeah, I was just going to ask Johnny, when they start dating you, are you just stressing them out and their thyroids are just like bottoming out?
Yeah, probably, I hope so. Get them out of life. On to the next one.
Their thyroid's messed up. Okay, see you later. Bye.
It establishes too much dominance. That's all that it is.
What is it? I forget the word. It's like diastatic. What they used to have the capsules for liver. Does anybody remember what those are? Where it was like liver in capsules, but it was like shredded. It starts with a D.
Desiccated.
Desiccated. So there's. Thank you. Appreciate that. Desiccated natural thyroid something, but the doctor's talking about this in there, and he's constantly mentioning when he gets into a certain hormone, he'll talk about that hormone and then how there's drugs, or like he calls them synthetic like hormones, but I just think of them as drugs. I don't think of like these fucking drugs as like actual hormones, but like that's I guess how it's perceived in like the medical world. But like in my mind, it's like, okay, there's a drug or there's a hormone. Those are two completely different things. And it's interesting because he's talking complete shit around like similar like ethos is what we talk about related to the big pharma and that kind of thing, and how it's pushing one direction when in reality optimizing one's hormones solves a lot of people's actual problems. My mom actually has just got her blood work done. I haven't talked to her yet, but for her testosterone levels. So she's going to check her test levels because she's 70 years old. You're like, okay, well, that's old, right? You would expect to feel tired and stuff like that. But she's like, I get up and an hour later, like I'm ready for a nap. And then she's ready for a nap, like again. And she's like, this is not normal. This is like not good. And I was like, you should get your testosterone levels checked, get all your hormones checked. She's working with her doctor up there. Actually, maybe we should have to talk to you, David, because I know you work with a lot of women who are like, their hormones are fucked up from competition.
So the number one thing that really addresses stress markers and hormones when you see them off in women is actually fixing their circadian rhythm. Because what happens is their adrenals get thrown off. So they don't get the normal dopamine releases and melatonin releases at nighttime, actually, when they're trying to sleep. So they can't hit REM. So basically they're having insulin spikes during the night. They'll wake up, their fasted blood glucose is elevated, which happens with age anyways, but it's more prevalent when you're not sleeping. So reducing blue light, this is super simple, free one. Reducing blue light before bed, 2 hours before bed, and then implementing red light before bed and then red light in the morning has a direct correlation to testosterone, and it actually has to do with improving circadian rhythm. So probably what's happening is she's releasing cortisol through the night, and then when she's waking up in the morning, when she's supposed to like start spiking cortisol to wake her up, what's happening is she's flatlining out, and then she stays flat through the day, and then she might have cortisol either released before bed or no cortisol at all, because adrenal fatigue or HPA dysfunction is what they call it in the medical community, is happening to her and is bottoming out her hormones. So the root cause, I guarantee you, is partially circadian rhythm related, but also cortisol related, where her cortisol just like leveled. It's not going up naturally, because that's our body's natural rhythm. Is we wake up, starts releasing cortisol slowly through the day, and then it starts leveling back out, and then we go to sleep, and then the same thing happens the next day. So it's a natural way to wake us up. So like high caffeine intake and stuff like that, constantly pumping epinephrine and norepinephrine, taxing those adrenals, can hit it pretty hard. So.
That's interesting. There's
I feel like this is too much estrogen. We're talking about broads and their thyroids. Let's talk about some juice. Let's talk about some SARMs. Let's talk about working out.
Seth, you're actually testing you're testing out a new SARM that I don't think any one of us has tried but yourself. What do you think? What is it?
Yeah, so I took some time off like taking anything for a while. I think the last thing I experimented a couple months ago was testosterone again. And then Tony Hughes has been promoting AC-262. It's the new one out there, which they say it's like an ostarine alternative. But in the higher dosages, it could be kind of like more of an EQ anadrol feeling. So I got some from one of the sources that I'm affiliated with, and today was my first day trying it out, and it reminded me of that EQ feeling. So it definitely has those same compound-like feeling. So it hits pretty quick. It's pretty strong. I can notice after like a few sets in. So it's something definitely to try out and experiment with your research purposes.
Can you run your labs while you're on it? I'm really curious to see if your hematocrit levels are actually elevating, like what would happen with like an anadrol or an EQ. Like that's like the number one big one with that, is like it just skyrockets hematocrit levels. So I'd be really curious to see where your hematocrit levels are at.
Yeah, actually, I did some labs recently after I ended my ostarine cycle, and I didn't get any suppression. So I was in like the 1600 range, which is pretty decent already for TRT, as you guys know. My LDL levels were off just slightly. That's pretty common when you're taking ostarine. So it was only off by like maybe a couple markers. I think it's usually around 50 or something like that. They say is normal average. And then mine was like in the 45 range. I think a little lower than that. But I'm going to do a lab work after I'm done with this to see where I'm at. Because what Tony was describing is there's no suppression on it. He had a couple of people try it out, and they got lab work done. Johnny and I were talking to him the other day in one of our videos that we did with him just recently. And he said it actually raised their testosterone levels by like, what was it, Johnny? It was like 10 milligrams or something. I don't know how.
Yes. What Tony was saying was he gave people, I think, 10 milligrams as a cycle without testosterone, and there was no suppression, and their blood work was better during the cycle and after than before. That was probably to do with working out or whatever. But he made it sound awesome. So I'm excited to try it. I got some on the way from Pure Raws. I told Tony in the interview we did with him that I normally do 30 milligrams of RAD with my TRT if I do a SARM. The RAD's my favorite SARM. And he was like, oh, you should try 30 milligrams of the AC-262 and maybe work your way up to 50 since I used to do higher dosages and stuff. So, I mean, I want to try it out. The way he made it seem was pretty cool. I want that EQ dryness, vascularity. He made it seem like it was like Trenbolone, but without the separation. That's what he said. In high dosages. 30 or more.
I pulled up a website that's talking about this, and it said a 2-week animal study concluded that AC-262 improves anabolic performance without suppressing natural testosterone production in the body. This sets AC-262 apart from other SARMs, most of which suppress your body's natural testosterone production during the cycle. Now, on the flip side, the same website says that one of the benefits is suppressed luteinizing hormone. So take that with a grain of salt.
What you said, David.
So this looks like this is kind of a site that gives, like, you know, they create a guide and then you click on it to go to science.bio and buy it. So take that with a grain of salt. But that's interesting. I mean, a SARM that doesn't suppress your testosterone, I mean, that's pretty interesting.
Milligrams, so
I wonder if there's anything to take for luteinizing, like those hormones, like if they're getting suppressed while you're experimenting with this product, to not get them as suppressed or kind of like prevent it. Like, David, would you recommend anything to kind of like
HCG?
Yeah. So it's super interesting because, like, usually when you get suppression of luteinizing hormone, that's the first thing that gets hit when you do a shot of testosterone. Luteinizing hormone, FSH, shut down. Depending on dosages that you're running, you can actually run and test at low dosages and keep them online, kind of. So if you're shutting down luteinizing hormone, you're actually shutting down your testicles, which usually shuts down testosterone production. So I don't know if it's a length and variation or a dosage thing that would see the suppression of luteinizing hormone, just like testosterone, because that is a very unique, like, I've never heard of a SARM not suppressing testosterone, which is very, very interesting. But yeah, for luteinizing hormone, if you need to plug that gap, then it would be HCG during that period of time. But really, I mean, I wouldn't run, I guess you could run HCG without having testosterone in the mix, but it's like one of those things, a catch-22, where you're just basically replacing luteinizing hormone with that HCG.
But what I'm doing already, I'm already on testosterone replacement. I'm doing my 150 a week, so I'm not going to have any issues with that. But one thing that's interesting, I talked to you guys about in the last podcast, is I did have my vasectomy this past year.
Yeah.
I wonder if I won't have any issues at all, because I've never really had suppression issues ever.
Well, what was it? How did that like change? Did it change anything for you? I know. There's everybody says that it doesn't like lower your levels. Like if you're natty, right? That's what they've shown. It doesn't affect your levels. But how does that affect you? Like, have you noticed any like difference, like just mentally, that you're like, hey, you chopped your balls off, basically?
No, I feel the same. My drive is even better. Like with my wife. I mean, I'm married now, so I've never had any issues beforehand. That was just a personal choice to do it. It's just, you know, I don't want to have kids, so
marriage typically makes the drive go down. So
no, dude,
so you know. Not year one, not year two, but
no, there's no issue with that. But dude, like honestly, I feel even more of a drive, like that I've had my vasectomy and on TRT. I mean, I'm sure one of you guys have had vasectomies already. Like, you guys maybe had any experience or anything like that? Or
I was scheduled for one. So long story short, I had an issue where I had to go for a surgery in that general area. And I was like, well, fuck it. While I'm under the anesthesia, I might as well get the snip. And long story short, it didn't work out. So I didn't get the vasectomy. Looking back, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with getting a vasectomy, but now I'm kind of glad I didn't, because I just hit 40, not having any kids. I'm not worried about it. So I'm just kind of happy that I left it natural. And again, do I really think it makes a difference? No, I don't think so. Real quick, I just wanted to answer this question. Toncatali and Tribulus keep LH from crashing on TRT? No, your LH is going to crash. Testosterone is way more powerful than either one of those. You could take as much of this stuff all day long. Your LH is going down, bud. Sorry. TRT is too powerful. You can't stop it. Strong like bull.
Strong like bull. April asks a question too.
Yep.
Johnny, you want to answer this one? What exactly is bioavailable testosterone? Is this free testosterone? Johnny, you want to talk about that one? Let me make it. There you go.
Bioavailable testosterone is what you can use. So your free testosterone is what your body's capable of like using. Isn't that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Essentially, they call it like bioavailable, free pre-calculated. They use all these fancy terms.
Yeah, just when people ask me what their free testosterone means, I just tell them that's what your body's, available to use. So that's basically what I tell my clients.
There's a peptide I found, and Tom actually brought it up here because I think kiss and peptin affects LH, I think. Tom, let me know if it let me know, Tom, if that affects your LH. But there's another one called triptotorline, I think it's called, and it increases FSH and LH, but is time dependent. So it's the same peptide that's given as a drug to trans people who want to like be a girl or whatever it is they want to be. So like, just don't take that peptide for super long. I don't know what that time frame is, but it's triptorline. Triptorline is effectively, I pulled something up on it.
So now question, taking that peptide in conjunction with testosterone, will it actually still secrete a luteinizing hormone luteinizing hormone FSH if in conjunction with testosterone, with the suppression? Because it's trying to go, peptides usually go through the natural process to do something.
Yeah, so triptorline, sold under the name blah, blah, blah. Among others, it's a medication that acts as an agonist analog of gonadotropin releasing hormone, thus reversibly repressing expression of luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. There was another article that summarized this better than Wikipedia did, but effectively, triptorline, if it's taken for a short period of time, increases, there's like a boost in testosterone initially before it dries your shit up. And that's what it was talking about in there. And I was like, this is interesting, because Tom had mentioned the KISS peptin, which I heard about, but I've never really dove into the research on it. And people are having trouble getting HCG, right? Because they're like that thing we've talked about before with the FDA requiring additional licensing and all that garbage just to increase, somebody's bank account, right? So not sure whose it is, but I guarantee it was put in place to increase somebody's bank account.
I've heard mixed things about kisspeptin. Some people like it. Some people think it doesn't do shit. Same thing kind of with gonadorelin. For me, gonadorelin, I don't think it works personally. Just random. I just pulled up another thing about that AC-262. It says in animal studies, it produced a maximal effect of around 66% of the anabolic action of testosterone, but only around 27% of its potency as an androgen. That was pretty interesting.
I'm actually only taking this for 8 weeks. That's what I'm deciding to do my cycle on. Because we were just saying, like the other day with Tony, shorter cycles, you can get more of the benefit out of doing like one little small cycle versus like a 12-week cycle. You could see a lot more gains or whatever your goals are like. I know
20.
20. I know, like when you compete, like David, like you have athletes that go on like longer cycles because they prep. But if you're just doing something short term, like I say, even like a 6 to 8 week cycle, you could probably like bypass some of the side effects that you'll see, doing a short term cycle versus a long term cycle.
Yeah. So when you're talking about cycle lengths and stuff like that, it gets kind of interesting because there's like titration methods where you can reduce overall androgen load, because there's a lot of people that go out and when they start their cycle, they're like 600 milligrams of test, 500 milligrams of EQ, and like they start just like pounding gear right off the rip. And the androgen load rapidly increases very quickly. Therefore, you get side effects quicker than if you did slow, moderate increases over time. So yes, if you reduce on the cycle length from 16 weeks at the same dose down to 8 weeks, then the androgen load is 50% of what it would have been at the end of the 16 weeks. So absolutely.
I like to do cut that down and just do a couple of days a week. I know I'm different than a lot of people, but instead of doing something where it's 7 days a week, I'll just do my shit like pre-workout, but not even every day of the week. So sometimes it's 5 days a week, which is pre-workout every single day. I'll take something, but a lot of the times it will be like 3 days a week, is like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I take 2 days off just because it's like David was saying, you're getting a reduction. Like you don't need all the extra shit. At least I don't need it for my goals based on how I want to live. I don't see like a need or a desire to do any of that all the time. Maybe like short periods of time I'll do something like that, but it's been quite a long time since I've decided to do things, 7 days a week. And I have this couple Facebook groups. Oh my God, there's a couple. Johnny and Seth are both of those. There's so many kids in there. They're like,
Oh God.
dude, it's ridiculous. They're like, should I take 20 milligrams of aspirin and 20 milligrams of LGD and 20 milligrams of MK677? I started working out 6 months ago. I was like, bro.
No, there's people that have been working out for like a week on there. I swear. Oh, I just started working out a week ago. Can I take Sarms? Can I take this? Do I take the best pace?
It's funny you say that because
Just go through the comments.
it's funny you say that, Sam, because there's a lot of newbies out there, and they look up to people like us or like just in like the fitness world, and they're like, you know, they want to take all these compounds and stuff like that, and we talk about them, but you know, they're only for like experimental research purposes only. But like, do the research before asking questions, guys. Do it on your own time. Like that's what I've done in the past. Even before I come to someone that knows about something, like, or hiring a coach for questions, because you want to do your own research on every single thing. It really makes a big difference, and you'll be saving someone else's time versus your own time. It just like research 10 minutes a day, like go on there and research that one compound, and then you'll find the answer. Google literally has everything. Ask Siri about it. Like,
Siri, I'd like to get fucking swole. I actually saw on Reddit, I saw on the TRT subreddit, I saw a kid, he posted a picture of his shoulder, and it was fucking red, looked like an infection. And he was like, this is my first time pinning. And he's like, does this look infected? I've done 10 shots back and forth to shoulders. And he was fucking pinning Tren. It's his first time pinning, and he's pinning Tren. And these guys are like, this has got to be a troll. This is a troll. And no, sure as shit, this kid, first injection of gear was Tren. And I'm like, bro, these kids are nuts these days.
They just don't care. It's the information is so readily available, and again, they hear us talking about it, so they think it's okay. But what people don't understand is, like, I was just on a podcast, like Terrence Ruffin and I, number 2 in the world for classic physique, and I'm betting he's number 1 in the world by the end of this year. He and I were natural for a very long time, and we talk about this. See where your genetics can take you. I was always told not always. There was a few people out there in the fitness world that said I had shitty genetics. I was 135 pounds. I was 217 pounds 3 years later, naturally. Didn't touch anything. Ate big, trained big, didn't care if I died with the bar on my back, and I got big. And it's as simple as that. Train hard, wait, let your brain develop. Don't shut everything down right off the rip. So it's like, yeah.
Honestly, like, I'm the same boat as you, David. Like I've been, you know, up until recently, I think it was 4 years ago, I just started researching and trying out things because I competed twice or whatever. I, you know, do your normal stage competing contest prep diet with all your compounds in it. But like, you know, up until then, I didn't really want to take anything. I just didn't have any desire. You know, I started out taking SARMs and stuff like that. So like, you know, just getting into the science behind it, I like it. It's just like, you don't need to actually use it. If you're like just beginning, if you're 18 years old and up, you really don't need to do anything until you get like to like maybe even your mid 25, 30s. Like you could be totally fine and train hard. Like David said, like just eat your food every single meal. Don't miss a meal. Like you could do it all naturally. There's no use for it. It just, you see people and you want to like get the quick way out, but there's ways to do it fast. It's just, you got to be consistent.
And I'm honest with people, the best muscle growth I've ever gotten was actually on testosterone replacement therapy and 2 IUs of GH. That's what I took, the best muscle growth I literally ever got in my entire lifting career. I wasn't injured at the time, so that's definitely the reason not attributed to, but I never need to be on anything to grow. If you need to rely on something to grow or rely on something for strength, you're weak-minded already and you're not going to make it. I'm sorry. That's just it. Like you should be just as strong off cycle as you are on cycle. And that's a huge thing that I say is like, you need to be natural and push your limitations to see where you can actually go, because it's literally a neurotransmitter in the brain that is strength. And you've got to be able to push your limitations day in and day out and make progress, whether you're on stuff or off stuff. I'm stronger off than on. And I don't know if I just feel better off, which is probably the case because I don't run high dosages. So I usually feel pretty good. But at the end of the day, like it comes down to the fundamental roots of everything. And if you just are even a natural person that goes from natural to 200 milligrams of testosterone a week, you're probably tripling your testosterone in your body. Like, think about that. You're 3 times more testosterone in your body with 200 milligrams of testosterone for the average, even early 20s male, because unfortunately they're being raised in a beta world right now that they're always exposed to blue light exposure and all these toxins in the environment. So their testosterone levels are garbage and their testicles are garbage at this point. And it makes a huge difference, but you don't need to start early. You need to be able to push it early.
I feel like yes, I agree with the essence of the message, the essence of what you're saying, but I think a lot of people would probably not necessarily agree with you're going to be as strong on gear as you are off of gear. I agree, though. You should definitely push yourself 100%, like on your diet, your training, like your sleep pieces of things. But being on test is such a fucking advantage, because if you're living life and you say you enjoy going out for a drink, right? Or say you're staring at a screen all day like I am, right? Or you don't go to sleep at a regular time, you get up at a regular time with consistency of that, or you're not drinking enough water. All these things are going to fuck up your endocrine system. They're going to fuck up your hormones. And so, like, if you're taking testosterone and you're 200 milligrams and that's putting you towards the top edge of what might be normal, then you have such an advantage, because when somebody else goes out drinking, their shit gets depressed during that time and it gets messed up, where we're on testosterone, so we don't have to deal with that issue of like, hey, we fuck up our sleep for a night and our shit's not fucked up the next day because we're on testosterone. And like, makes such a big difference, because you think of all those times, right? Why do we inject 2 to 3 times a week? Because we can level out the peaks and troughs on that kind of thing. But people are creating these peaks and troughs perpetually in their life by the way they live their life and all like the garbage that they're exposed to, whether it's plastics or like just people's diets and all that kind of stuff. And you have such an advantage with testosterone versus like not being on testosterone.
So I wanted to ask, so actually Tom follows Tom McGivern here. He follows my page. He
What up,
trolls
Tom?
the shit out of me sometimes. Nice guy. He looks like he's got some solid pecs going on over there. But he was like, bro, he's like, you're always preaching fitness and shit. He's like, why don't you lose some weight? I was like, God damn it. I was like, I'm 40 years old, motherfucker. Anyway,
Tom,
I recently did decide I want to cut down some weight. And so I cut out all alcohol. I just cut out all alcohol, and I don't drink crazy amounts, but I do drink, helps me go to sleep. Past 3 days, I've been freaking starving for whatever reason. I've been eating all day, all protein and shit. But I just cooked some chicken tenders. I got some rice. I got some broccoli. So I'm doing it up. And I was thinking, well, why not get a little saucy while I'm doing this? So we'll do a cut anyway. So I was thinking about, I'm on 250 tests right now per week. Thinking about throwing in 100 milligrams of Deca, which I already have. And then I was going to try to take a page from Sam's book, and possibly, I don't give a shit about my legs. I don't care. So I was thinking about taking Rad 140 the days I train chest and back, and then maybe take some cardarine on Saturday and do cardio for like an hour or two. What are your guys' thoughts? It's a lot.
I like that. Deca, 100 milligrams, and the cardarine on cardio days, and the Rad 140 on your chest and arm days. Yeah, fuck legs, right? It's all about the arms.
What are you gonna? I like that Tom was calling you out, dude. We were also saying that TYL should do like a women's physique show. I mean, a men's physique show. For like, I think, dude, it would be hilarious if you did that, and we did updates on this like on a weekly basis where you do your fat loss.
Why the fuck do you want to see a flabby, pale white dude get on stage and pose? Why would you want to see that?
Because it will go viral.
Yeah, it would go viral.
I'm not going to be the ass of your jokes.
I think that's a good. I think it's a good idea. What are you going to change with the diet? I would ask though, because that's going to be the biggest factor to you getting to dropping. Like, are you going to try something like intermittent fasting or once a week a 24-hour fast, or that stuff's like super helpful for your health too.
I mean, essentially, my diet's pretty much going to be the chicken, rice, and vegetables. I know that's the standard shit, whatever. I'm going to be taking berberine when I eat like protein bars, and it's going to be basically protein shakes, chicken, rice, and broccoli. Nothing crazy. Just overall, just eat a little bit less, cut out the alcohol. Obviously, when I know Tom was just busting my balls about alcohol sleep study. I know alcohol does not help you get into REM sleep, but it helps me go to sleep. So what I did recently is I've been taking a combination of sleep juice some night. That's Tony Hughes' supplement, which I do like. And then Morpho-REM, I've been taking that. I know that's Dave's guy, Morphogen. That one gives me crazy freaking dreams. That would give me some weird dreams. I had some weird like apocalypse dreams. It was nuts. But and then I got a free app that plays rain noises, and you can like change the amount of thunder and lightning and stuff. So I've been putting that on when I go to sleep, and that seems to help.
So have you ever experimented with Delta Sleep Peptide yet?
Have not.
Dude, I have dreamed with my eyes open by accident. Like I woke up and I realized I woke up and needed to pee, and I'm doing REM, Somagen, and Delta Sleep Peptide in prep, and I was sleeping like a baby. And I woke up, had to have been 5 times at least, and I was sitting there awake needing to pee, and I realized I was actually dreaming with my eyes open for probably what felt like probably 5 minutes was probably 15 to 30 seconds. And then I realized I was like, oh, I'm actually like my eyes are open right now. I need to go to the bathroom.
What was it called? What was the
DSIP, I think?
Yeah.
That.
Oh, it's so some people have issues where they're groggy in the mornings from it, but and then I've also heard of a person that didn't have a response to it. I'm telling you right now, I was definitely on real Delta Sleep Peptide. I was like conking because I was waking up to pee nonstop. So I was like, I need a way to get in a REM cycle really quickly because I was passing out and going to sleep. I just had to keep waking up to pee. And sure enough, well, there you go. That's actually the best sleep aid out there. For all you women out there that you probably aren't on.
Jared just cuts to he's like, dude, guys, you guys are talking about BS, like all that shit. All you need to do is just gonna be BJ before bed, super easy. As soon as you're done, you are ready to go to sleep. Jared cutting to the punch right away.
Not that. You eat the whole entire thing before sleep. That's the best way to handle it.
Johnny has told me that he uses kava before sleep. I still haven't got it, but you had mentioned, Johnny, that you use kava before sleep and you do something else before sleep.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be as good as the peptide that he was talking about, but I really like. I take like melatonin, like 3 to 5 milligrams with kava, and L-theanine. L-theanine is like an amino acid that helps you relax. So that combination really helps me sleep good. I have CBD laying around. I don't really use it, but the kava seems to work really well, and the L-theanine as well. So I take those 3. It seems to work pretty well. I don't know if you guys tried it.
Well, so I have a question because Sam and I have talked about kava quite a bit, actually, and we still haven't experimented with it. It's something that I want to get to.
I got to get it.
Because there's some kava, like different strands of kava. Some help with like cognitive functionality. Some help with like mood support and anxiety support. And then I'm guessing there's one that helps with sleep. But I know they relate it to alcohol. Have you read studies that say that it actually aids in the REM cycle or reduces REM cycle? Because alcohol just blocks REM cycle.
No, I haven't seen any studies that even see that it helps with sleep. I haven't really looked into it. I just started taking it, and it made me feel really good. You know, like those days where you're working really hard, and at night you're still kind of anxious. So the kava just helped me relax. I tried it once, and I kind of got hooked on it. So I was like, let me grab this, and when the nights that I need to relax, I take it, and it seems to work really well. But I haven't really researched into it. But I know, Sam, we saw the study where it said it was good for sex drive. I mean, I'm taking Cialis anyway, so I'm not really sure. It works good.
There's something related to the dopaminergic effect, or like it affects dopamine with kava, but it also I think affects GABA or something like that. So that it has like a relaxing type of an effect to it, which would make sense, right? Sometimes like whatever we're going through during the day, and you get to the bed and you're just like, damn, I didn't do that thing, or like, oh, I still got to do this thing. Oh, tomorrow I got to do this thing or whatever. And you're just thinking about all this shit. And I do still got to get that. And I forget. What's that?
I recommend it. I think it definitely works to help you relax and get to sleep. And when I sleep, I've been having very deep sleep lately. Like I'll wake up and I'm like, wow, that was good sleep. didn't wake up to pee or anything.
Oh,
No.
wow. Hey, that's something I would like to touch on, because that's something I'm trying to play with. So normally I'll get up probably once throughout the night and take a piss. So I'm trying to figure out how to play with my sodium or potassium. I've switched my drinking. So I drink just probably around 140 ounces of water a day, maybe 150 to 160 depending on the day, but on average about 140. And I'll stop drinking. So this was what put me at 140 ounces. And I finished this maybe 15 minutes ago. So I like to stop my drinking at 7 p.m. and then I go to bed between 9 and 10 o'clock. And I'll take a piss right before I go to bed, but I still wake up like one time throughout the night. I've tried sodium loading like in that time before bed to see about holding on more fluid. And I'm curious, do you guys everybody wake up at least once throughout the night to take a piss, or do you have any tips or thoughts about different ways to test this?
Yeah, I guess I'll talk on this one. Usually I'll have like issues if I don't take like a sleeping product because I drink a lot of water throughout the day. So like I've kind of stopped drinking water at a certain time now instead of like having a glass by my bed or whatever, and, drinking water late at night, or some people want to get a sip if they wake up, go to the bathroom. I don't know if any of you guys have that issue too. Because if you're drinking constantly, like later at night before you go to bed, it's going to make you pee more. So try stopping your drinking like a little bit earlier. So like depending on what your bedtime, when you go to bed, like drink 2 hours before you go to bed, have all your water intake, and then stop and try not to drink like throughout the night.
I stop at I used to stop at 9, then I stopped at 8, now I'm stopped to 7. So I stop at 7 p.m. before 7 p.m. and then I go to bed. I'd like to say I go to bed at 9, but vast majority of the time it's like 9:45, 9:30, 10 o'clock, right in that time frame. And I don't drink anything between. I'll probably eat one more meal, but I don't drink anything, and I still wake up. TYL, I saw you shaking your head. You don't wake up in the middle of the night and go to the bathroom?
No, I don't. Actually, you do a BSP. It's a bladder suppressive peptide. It's brand new. No, I'm just fucking around. No, they seem to have a peptide for everything these days. But no, I don't. I drink consistently water throughout the day. I don't jam water at the end of the night, but I just do kind of sip it, and I'll take a little sip before I go to bed. But I'm able to make it till I wake up. Now, don't get me wrong. When I wake up, like it's time. I gotta go. Like it sucks because I'll wake up, and if my dog wakes up, she's got to pee, and I feel bad, so I let her out first, and I'm standing there, and I'm like, oh shit, come on, dog, go. And then she runs in, and then I run to the bathroom and pee. Kind of annoying.
They should make a peptide that you can stop yourself from peeing. Inject
bladder suppressive peptide, BSD 552.
What did you say, Johnny?
Good job. I thought it was real. The bladder suppressant.
It will be. It'll be in like a year or two. We'll be talking about it. I actually wanted to ask Johnny, because this is first time on our podcast. What's your TRT routine? What kind of stuff are you into?
Yeah, so I been working out for a long time. I was natural for a while. Put on a lot of muscle. I took some cycles throughout my 20s with a bodybuilding coach that I was training with. And ever since then, when I've come off, I decided to go on TRT because my blood work before taking cycles was actually, my testosterone was always kind of low. So right now I'm doing about 200 milligrams of testosterone per week. I take HGH to keep my balls full, and I like human growth hormone as well.
What do you do for HGH?
3 units per day. Monday through Saturday, sometimes Monday through Friday. I like to have a few days off a week because DH kind of gets you a little tired. But I like it because it rips off body fat for sure. The main reason why I take it is because it helps me stay lean for my Instagram pictures.
do you do HGH pre-workout or post-workout? Or
no, I usually take it in the morning when I'm taking some morning supplements when I first wake up before breakfast. Or I'll take it before bed. The thing is that I don't really like injecting anything before bed. So for convenience, I take it first thing in the morning on an empty stomach.
Oh, that's interesting.
So you and Dave, are you guys using those pens? Are you guys using the pens where you just go click, 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 and you, oh shit. No, so it's just like HCG.
Yeah, those are good, but I just take the ones that you reconstitute, like the somatropin, the serostim. But the ball pens, I'm sure, are really good. A lot of people really like them. They're just kind of hard to get a hold of.
So the issue with the pens is almost all of them are replicas, almost all of them are fake. So even if you spend a ton of money on them, you're throwing money down the tubes, and God knows what you're putting in your body at that point. Like they're almost all replicas. So unless you're going down to Mexico and getting it scripted to you on dry ice, that's the only way that you know that's real. And you can do it. It's kind of expensive, but you know it's real. And the quality of growth hormone directly from the pharmacy down in Mexico, I have friends that have gotten it, and it's uncomparable to the rest of the growth hormone that we get in the U.S. Now, Serrano EMD, which is the Serostem in the U.S., I've had good results on that. But it's sad because for some reason I had generics that pull back better labs than pharmacy, and like I'm talking like GH serum and IGF-1 score. So why would I spend money on something that is lower quality? That's a ton more money. I'm talking like 3 to 4 times the price if you're really getting real stuff than just generics. And like I'm kind of getting to that point. It's weird because there is a big difference between the two. Trust me, I know it. I felt it.
Yeah, I've gotten good results with some replicas for sure. And yeah, I've tried some shady GH, like some Chinese stuff, but the Serostim that I've tried and the somatropin and the replicas and stuff have all been pretty good. I really like the growth hormone because it helps with my appetite. It keeps me lean. It definitely adds to the TRT because TRT will help you build muscle and your sex drive and stuff. But the growth hormone, it really helps you stay lean. There's no doubt about it. But I like to take breaks from it. I don't take it all the time.
Johnny, or because I don't think TYL or Seth have done this before, and then I wanted to touch on Tom's question. I know we have a couple minutes left because Johnny has to run at 7:30. But with I've only done peptides for HGH, and I haven't actually. I did like, my buddy was moving, and he's like, "Hey, I've got like 30 IUs left of HGH." Yeah, just basically natty.
Yeah, I never ran over 250. I'm basically natty. I've only done SARMs. I only did like 30 IUs of growth. I'm blazing off.
It was 30 per day, so it's fine. Like it was only a short period of time. But I haven't actually tested actual HGH. It's primarily been peptides or MK677. And I think both of you guys have tested out at least MK677 and or different peptides. And what are your thoughts between the two of them? Because I do want to get some actual HGH this fall.
Johnny first.
So with the MK677, it definitely will give you growth hormone-like benefits. It'll increase your growth hormone. Your hands will get numb. Like you'll feel the growth hormone. You'll notice it, but it really increases your appetite. So growth hormone increases your appetite, but MK677, it's like the first few weeks you take it. I mean, it's just like you're so hungry. It's like unbearable. Like it's like desperate hunger.
So I've heard of people driving to like drive-through to drive-through because they got hungry after eating on the way.
Crazy. Like it's like that, dude. Like I'll stop somewhere to eat. Like I'll be so like desperate to eat. And then when I eat, I'll just nonstop like buffet style. But after a week or so, I get used to it. I think human growth hormone, like the actual real stuff, is definitely better. But I still like MK677. I just don't really take it. I have a lot laying around. I just don't really use it much. I use it here and there. And the some of the other ones I've tried, hexarelin, ipamorelin, they work pretty good. Same thing. They'll give growth hormone-like benefits, but I don't think it's as good as the actual HGH. It's not as strong.
So I'm in the same exact boat. So the issue with MK677, it's a ghrelin antagonist 100%. So it's going to just drive your shot. So if you're having appetite issues, sure. But the issue with it is if you're having appetite issues and you're bulking and you're eating a lot of food, then you also have insulin resistance that comes from the constant long secretion of growth hormone from the MK677. So you're going to hit on all fronts. So if you don't have like insulin in the mix, then you're having insulin resistance issues. So it's kind of defeating the purpose of increasing your appetite there. So ghrelin antagonist, sure, 2 weeks max probably, and then you have to come off or else you get insulin resistance. Then, ipamorelin, this combination of CJC and a GHRP6, some people hyper respond to it, and if they're feeling good on it, sure. But most people actually don't like how it makes them feel. For the most part, some people do really well with it, and again, some people don't. For me, it didn't really do much for me. My labs didn't budge really, and I've seen labs not budge time and time again with it. So I'm kind of against the peptide.
That was with the GH6 and CJC
in conjunction. So I should have been getting IGF-1 spikes out of it. If anything was going to happen, I personally didn't, and I've seen people that didn't. Then again, I've seen people in like almost a 400 IGF-1 score with it. So if that's doing it and it's that cheap for you to do it, go for it. But I can tell you, GH, it's in a league of its own.
Completely wet. I'm excited to try that. I wanted to, Johnny, I know you have to run because you mentioned you had a call. Do you want to say, tell people where to find you, check you out? I know I think you're still taking a couple clients. So if you want to talk about any of that real quick, and then I wanted to talk about Tom's question quick.
Sure. So you guys can find me on Instagram, Johnny Ugent, YouTube. I take online clients. I specialize in the nutrition supplementation. I'm also honest with you guys about the super supplements. So if you're looking for a coach to help you with that, I'm willing to help you out and, try to help you do it as healthy as possible at your own risk. So if you're looking for a coach to help you with those things, I'm here to help you out. Guys, thank you again for having me on. I definitely want to go again next week. I won't take any sales call at 7:30 next time. I promise. I want to be on as long as possible.
Hey, no worries, brother. I hope you get the sale, dude. Have a great night, man.
Johnny, one last thing before you go. Repeat your Instagram name because it didn't pick up. It cut out in the middle of your Instagram name.
So Johnny Ugent, just how my name is spelled, JOHNNYUGENT. Find me on there, guys. Thank you very much.
Hey, peace out, brother. Talk to you soon, man.
Peace out, bud.
Hey, thank you. So I wanted to
real quick. I just wanted to say one thing. Back when I was younger, I used to be able to call out cars by their headlights and taillights like instantly. I could be like, "That's a '97."
Where does this come from, dude?
No, I was just saying because there's all these compounds out now. Like hexarelin, GRH. There's all these peptides, melanotin 2, PT141. It's like I can't keep up with all this shit. I felt like for a little while I had a good grasp on some of this stuff, and then fucking Seth's like AC-262. It doesn't suppress testosterone. I'm like, I've never even heard of this shit. It's just crazy. But I'll let you guys answer Tom's question because Tom has some juicy pecs over there. I don't want to take away from those.
No, that's a good observation too, and it's so funny. I saw David laughing, but literally, I remember playing that game with people in the car. You're like, "Hey, the car is like 250 yards in front of you, and you see these like taillights. You can barely make it out. You just tell this car, "Hey, what do you think that is?" Right? You try to guess, and whoever gets it right, it's.
And now I'm on the road, and I'm like, "Is that a Jaguar F-Type?" I'm like, "That's a fucking Kia Stinger." How was I so off on that? But those dude like Kias, Hyundais, they step their shit up. Back in the day, like my old neighbor way back in the day had a Hyundai hatchback, 5-speed, piece of shit. But now Hyundais, Kias, they are really nice.
I just saw Kia redid their logo. I don't know, and I don't like you guys know I like Tesla, right? Like that's what I have. So I don't really pay attention to legacy. And I drove by Kia. I drove by a Kia the other day, and my girlfriend's like, "What is that?" And I looked over to see what the logo was, and I didn't recognize the logo. They redid their logo, and it looks dope. It looks way more like modern looking for the Kia logo. But Tom actually mentions this. What do you guys think about the higher dose melatonin for GH releasing benefits? I'm not all the way down the rabbit hole yet. Tom, I found somebody on Instagram that I respect their opinion. They were talking about the biohacking. I brought this up probably like 3 or 4 or 5 months ago, where I don't remember what the dose was, but they were taking melatonin at like a mega dose. What was that? Do you guys remember?
It was 200
milligrams or something.
Yeah, 200 milligrams for anti-cancer, and then they found out that it affects the androgen receptor actually. Yeah.
And it's like and it affected like visceral fat. It reduced visceral fat, which is like the dangerous fat in there. So, but what do you guys think about what Tom was saying in that first? Chad is into crypto too, by the way, guys. If you guys are not aware, Hex is a crypto, which is dope as shit.
Yeah.
But what do you guys think about his question here?
Yeah. Seth, do you want to answer this?
I mean, I used to take melatonin, but not so much anymore just because it makes me groggy when I wake up in the morning. So I wouldn't really be able to answer that one today.
So melatonin, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're increasing REM production, then you can potentially get an increase in growth hormone production. So anything to really aid in that factor way. Now, I'm more interested in the research on the heavy dosing of melatonin and what research comes up in that, because it's actually affecting the androgen receptor they're finding out hormonally. So there may be other benefactors that directly correlate to increasing hormone productions or even opening up more anabolic pathways, freeing up testosterone, stuff like that. It's very, very interesting what they're finding. But the direct correlation, I think, is more of a correlation between melatonin and growth hormone. I don't know the actual direct benefits behind it, besides the fact that it can increase your sleep production and potentially release more growth hormone in that REM cycle.
So what if you add something in with the melatonin to counteract that, and maybe a GRHP6 or ipamorelin or something like that? Maybe it would affect the melatonin a different way.
It's definitely possible. I don't know how credible this fucking source is, but
looks interesting.
Yeah,
Tucson Cosmetics. They're definitely they're jacked and juicy. They are all HGH out.
Never mind. No, but go ahead.
If you saw that list, though, they had a list of things that increase growth hormone. They're all things that are basically plugged into the adrenals to help you sleep better. Like they have GABA there, melatonin.
And then
I guarantee you they could do a valerian root. Like there's a bunch of things. L-theanine. These things help with sleep, deeper sleep. So,
what I found was interesting is in the two different formulas, MorphoRem and Sleep Juice. So Sleep Juice had 0.5 milligrams per serving of melatonin, whereas the MorphoRem had 5 milligrams for 5 capsules and 10 milligrams for 10 capsules. And I've always seen melatonin as as a supplement in 5 or 10 milligram increments. But I just found it interesting. It's interesting because I'll be like half asleep, maybe a little bit high at the end of the night, and I'll look at both the labels, and I'm like, these are two completely different formulas. And it's interesting that there are a couple. I believe GABA is in both of them. I believe L-theanine is in both of them. But it's just interesting how two different people have two different formulas for REM sleep and going to sleep. And they used to, if I remember, I told you guys on the podcast, I would go to sleep pretty easily on them, but then I'd wake up at 3, 4 in the morning randomly with music playing in my head, and I couldn't go to sleep. But since I've cut out drinking at night, and I've been maybe smoking a little bit and taking these, my body's kind of getting used to it. So I haven't been waking up. I'm still having weird fucking dreams. I had a dream there was some apocalypse shit, and I was leaving my neighborhood, and there was some type of official car in front of the little bridge or whatever fence thing in front of my house. And at first I started walking past him and walking away. And then I kind of thought about it, and I snuck back over the fence, and I grabbed an AK, and I had it over.
What the fuck?
You should write a book about this.
Out, he's part of the enemy. Gotta take him out. But it was the roads were empty. I don't know. That's how my morning went. So
imagine TYL waking up in the morning, and he's just had this crazy dream. I think that's actually a perfect way to kind of wrap things up here. Seth, do you want to go through and show your Instagram and tell people how to find you? And if you guys enjoy this, wherever you're watching, whether you're watching on my channel, Test Your Levels channel, or David DiMasquita's channel, press the subscribe button, press the share button, and share this out with somebody else if you enjoyed the content. Trying to grow this and get in front of more people and help more people. But Seth, go ahead and talk about how people can actually reach out to you or find your information.
Yeah, guys, if you want to find me on, I'm pretty much on all the platforms, Facebook, Instagram. I'm sure Sam will link that somewhere where you guys can check it out. I do have a YouTube channel, which I collab with all you guys pretty much on a regular basis, and Johnny, which just left. You could link that source if you want, so everyone can check it out. I'm also in Sam's Facebook group, so if you guys have any questions on stuff that you do not know about, feel free to just hit me up, and I'll be more than happy to help you guys out. And thank you guys for having me on again. Hopefully I can be on soon. Chat it up again.
Dope. Appreciate you, brother. David, you want to tell people how to get a hold of you?
Sure. My Instagram name is at dynamite_D. And then every other platform is just going to be David D. Mosqueda. It's easy as that to find me. You guys know where to find me. You guys don't have to like and subscribe unless if you actually like and want to subscribe.
Yeah. If you enjoyed the content, we were all over the place in this episode. It was definitely very interesting. TYL, what's up, brother? You want to tell people how to find your shit?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok under Test Your Levels. If you listen to Tom McGivern, you can also find me on My 600 Pound Life. So I'll leave you guys with that. Tom thinks I'm fat. She eats right.
That's a perfect way to end it. I appreciate you guys. I enjoyed this. Yes, let's get the biceps